All right. Welcome everybody to this week's edition to ECR Race Hub presented by Elite Championship Racing. I am Joshua Sheets and here with me today is our league president Anthony Thitchner and Ed Adams, Trevor McManus, and Chad Engel. How you boys doing this evening?
Doing just
All
great.
right.
Thank you for having.
Doing good, Mr. Sheets. Thank you for having me.
All right, awesome. Now let's get on with it, boys. Let's talk about ECR League. Now, Anthony Thishner, what possessed you to create this nut house of a league, Elite Championship Racing?
I was tired of everybody else's bullshit, man. Look, we wanted to race a league that was as close as NASCAR as we can get and as competitive as we can get. And have a rule book that everybody obeyed by. It didn't matter who they were, whether you were the league owner, admin, administrator, member, didn't matter. We wanted you to obey by that rule book. And there's a lot of leagues out there. Guys get away with different things, and they make up their own rules. And look, we wanted to have the most realistic league as possible, so we created what is ECR League, and we got our own sim race, sim payouts, costs, DNFs, all that stuff, man. It's all in the rule book, and we made ourselves different. We're different than any other league, so I wanted to be different, man. That bottom line, we wanted to be different.
It's that fantasy aspect, I mean, that's what me as a rookie. A lot of research came into this thing. There's so much more to it than just racing. It's so good.
I love how realistic we all try to make it be here. And main thing that's kept me around is the people. Fantastic people.
I love the level of competition between everybody. There isn't a group of guys I'd rather race with 3 nights a week.
All right, that's awesome. So it's pretty stiff, extensive league, pretty strong competition around here. I would must say myself. Anthony Thishner, now you have went over to why you started this league, Elite Championship Racing. Now the next question is, what are you willing to do to take this league, Elite Championship Racing, onto the next level, onto the next step, onto the next generation of sim racers?
Well, the answer to that is anything it takes, man. I mean, you don't have a league without your drivers, right? So anytime that we reach the off season, we want to run polls in the league and say, all right, what do you guys want to do, right? And we run the series, the setups, and the settings, and whatever you could think of. We'll put it as a poll, and we want to try to get everybody in the league involved and make sure that we try to please as many people as we can, because there's no league without the people in the league, and we want to get the people involved. So if you're in the league, you will be involved in the future decisions that are involved in this league. Simple as can be, man. I mean, when we look at the future of this league, we look at the people who are in it, and we get them involved, and we throw polls up, and we get them all voting, man. I mean, whatever the popularity is, what it is. You're not going to please everybody, but that's the reason why we do polls, and we try to keep it as real as can be, as real as NASCAR. There's some things that we won't put up as a poll because the admins will vote one thing, and if we feel like real strongly on one thing, then we're not going to put it up to a poll. That's one thing that admins have over the league is if we feel strongly on one thing, we're not going to vote. But if we feel like, all right, well, maybe this one thing, maybe we can give this up to the league. Let's see what they want, and we give it up and we vote, and the league votes on one thing, then we're going to do that. And that's the one thing that's cool about this league is that we try to be as close as NASCAR as possible, but also at the same time, the people have opinions, and they can vote, and they can, put in their opinions and change the way that the future is going to be in the ECR League.
Yeah, and I've had the privilege of running with you guys for the past 2.5 seasons, and it's been quite a ride, quite a haul. And we also had another late entry, Todd Gilly. He's also a member of this racing league. It is him, Ed Adams, Chad Engel would be our rookies for this session here, and our rookies for our ECR. So, Ed Adams, Chad Engel, Todd Gilly, how do you guys faring as a rookie in this series?
I think you need to stop making all the rookies go on that camping trip.
Yeah,
Woo!
right. Yeah, we
That
weren't given
camping
all the
trip is
rules on
tough,
that one.
man.
I guess it really depends on which part of the league we're talking about. ECR, we're running trucks, B car and A car, and each of it is life on its own in the league.
The level of competition between all three series is what keeps me around. Like I said, there isn't a better group of guys I would rather race with.
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, I've been around sim racing for 15, 16 years. I mean, back to day one. If the second a title was online and you could connect to a server, I was doing it. And I have never come across a league where everything was held so strict that everybody was held to accountable to a T. It didn't matter who you were. And I think the guys who are looking for that competition for that upper level are going to salvitate. They're going to gravitate towards that. That's what I love about it.
I would agree, and I'd say that just to further that, the amount of help that these guys that Anthony and all the admins, everybody involved will give you, is just I'm the exact opposite of Ed Adams. I just started sim racing. I mean, I only been doing this for 6-8 months. But to have Anthony and everybody, Josh, Scotty, and everybody help you out, man, and help you get through it, man. It's just unbelievable. I didn't imagine people could be that way with strangers.
That I appreciate what you guys are saying here because everybody starts out from nothing. When you're starting the league out, man, you start out from nothing. We had guys 4 to 6 guys a week showing up. Now we have 3 series and almost full fields almost every series. And sometimes you struggle. You're struggling to get half a field. It happens. It's part of growing on a league. But as far as every series is concerned, man, I don't think any series is hurting right now. We almost have full fields in every series. Cup Series is kind of half a field, but it's kind of expected summer months. But you guys nailed it. We all care about each other. Everybody's trying to help each other out. We're trying to become better. And I think that everybody that runs in this league, they've run against each other, and we go out and official and we dominate. I mean, I think that anybody who comes into this league as a driver becomes better when they go out and they race against other guys because we're all here to help each other. And that's the thing about this league that I love is that even if you're not the best driver, you have drivers in this league who are here to help you. They're here to help you get better, give you tips, I mean, Todd, you could probably speak on that.
Oh, for sure, man. I talked about it with you another time where I said that, I'm a 1500 I rating guy. All right. You got to get lapped by somebody like yourself or Thomas Lattimore or somebody. You get lapped by those guys that are really fast, and you learn to go faster, man. You'll try and figure out how those guys beating me, and then you follow them around for a while and you say, oh, yeah, that's it. That's what I'm doing wrong. And the cool thing is in this league, you can even ask those guys and they'll tell you how to get faster. They won't just leave you struggle and be happy to lap you or chastise you, ridicule you. They'll tell you, oh, you're driving it in too hard, man. You need to get off the corner better. This kind of thing. That's the best thing about it.
Yeah, I remember when I first started iRacing, all I had was a G27, which I heard was a pretty awesome wheel. Mixed feelings, but anyway, we'll move on. And I had an office computer. Of course, I did not know I needed a gaming computer for this. So I'm sitting here running like 25 to 30 frames rates per second, which pretty much causes lag time and reaction time from the wheel to the computer. And I'm sitting here struggling. I new to iRacing, showed up to ECR a few months later, and I'm sitting here struggling, and what some you just have to put in time and effort, and sometimes a little bit of investment, and you can excel in this simulator racing.
Going on what Todd was just saying, right before the broadcast here, me and one of our broadcasters, Scotty Brown, were in a Class C truck race together, and he was giving me pointers in practice what I was doing right, what I was doing wrong, and I was running up alongside him. It was just I made some bonehead mistakes and caused myself the wreck, but I took those lessons that he taught me and applied it, and I was doing better.
Yeah, that's such a huge selling point of everybody we race with that I fell in love with right away. I never felt any animosity. I never felt like, it was a closed book. That feeling of, look, we're going to bring you into the fold. We're going to get you up to speed. Therefore, you can race with us and be competitive. That was evident from 5 minutes in.
All right, guys, just for the people at home, if anybody was sitting here watching want to ask any questions, let us know and we'll try to answer them as soon as possible. All right, guys, let's talk about how this season has been so far. Lots of ups, lots of downs, few penalties here, penalties there. Some races win, some races lost, DNFs. Let's go with Trevor McManus. Now, Trevor, you have were gone for a little while and you came back. Do you feel the time off affected your drive at all?
Oh yeah, it was like last year when I was racing with you guys. I could run top 10. Not easy by any chance, but I mean I could run up there. Now the level of competition here at ECR is just unbelievable. I mean, I'm lucky sometimes if I make it to the top 10, but it's also trying to get back in the rhythm of things and knocking the rust off. I've been getting better and better, but it's still, it's hard, man. There's great racers here. It really is. It's awesome.
Anthony Thischer, my man, you sit there and you won multiple races in the Cup Series. You're better than you were at this point last season, I must say. What have you done different from this year and last year? Anthony Thischer, you got a copy? All right, we'll go back with Anthony Thischer. Chad Engel, like we said
You got
earlier,
me?
yes, sir, we got
I'm
you now.
here. Oh, all right. My mic was muted. Sorry, man. So like last season we had open setups, and then this year we had fixed setups. The one thing that I noticed the difference about is that you had so much more competition this season than you did last season. So like you could put 100 laps down last season and have a setup ready to go, right? Feel good. This season you can have 100 laps down, feel good, ready to go. But because everybody's on the same setup, you weren't ahead of them. These guys are just as good as you. So we have a lot of different winners this year, a lot of different pole sitters. It's hard to catch the pole. It's hard to win a race this year as compared to last year. So I'm sitting second in points, right? I have 2 wins. The points leader this year in the Cup Series has no wins as far as the points have been combined, but he actually just won last night. Jerome Gustin, he won last night's race, so he does have a win. It's just not been updated to ECRLeague.com. But he is the points leader going into last night's race, and I'm sure he'll be the points leader after because he won the race. Jerome Gustin, that 43 car, man, STP, he has set these standards for the season. He didn't have a win going into last night, but he's got a win now. And you look at second place has 2 wins, third place has 2 wins, fourth place has 2 wins, fifth place doesn't have a win. That was Thomas Lattimore. All these guys eligible to get more wins. So much competition in place. We have more winners now than ever in a season. It's just you have to stay in it. You're not going to win a race. You're not going to complete a race unless you stay in it to win it, man. And that's how it is. And Jerome Gustin has done a great job in staying in it. And he's the points leader now. Finally got his own win. He deserves it. And just respect all around, all these guys that stick in it, man. I mean, it is so hard to win a race nowadays with all the competition that is here, man.
Right, as Anthony said, Jerome Guston was the winner of last night's Cup race, and we will be talking about Jerome a little bit more later on in the broadcast. Now let's go on to our first series here. It is the Truck Series presented by Pit Stop Designs, and this series has been quite the entertaining series. The trucks are been pretty much easy to drive, track in and track out, and everybody's been aggressive. And let's see here, we have Chad Engel in here. He is running for the Truck Series Championships, and as myself is included into that. Is there anyone else in here running for the Truck Series Championship? I guess not. All
I think
right,
it's just me and you, Josh.
that's awesome. That's good. We don't have a whole lot to talk about then.
Bull, I've been broadcasting them all with Scotty Brown.
Oh
What do
yeah,
you want
that's
to
right.
know?
That's right. Todd Gillies had
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Todd's always up in the booth.
yeah, Todd's got that got the
I mean,
booth
missed
seat.
last week.
The Truck Series this year is awesome. Giant field,
Yeah, man, that
Uh,
field is just stout, packed deep in
great
trucks.
races. The truck being so easy to drive can lets the guys really drive them hard. You know, sometimes too hard. But it's a great. The Truck Series is a great thing this year, for sure.
Yeah,
What championship you running in?
My championship series is B.
Okay.
I'm running Beeline Championship
Yeah, I
Series.
wish I would have went with the trucks. I had third place at I think it was Dover or no, it wasn't Dover. It was a race before that, Iowa, I believe. Third place. I can't even come in the top 15 in my championship season. Or
All right, last week at the Truck Series race at Dover, it came down to fuel. Fuel. That extra 1 gallon would have made a difference between 5th place and 1st place, and it was showing, and the broadcast was full of excitement in the last 2 laps.
yeah,
yeah, that was awesome. I was up there in the broadcast booth, calling that race with old Scotty B, and man, we were sitting there wondering who was going to make it, who wasn't, because we had interviewed somebody and they said there was no way to make it from there on fuel. And I think it was Rob Haynes who dominated the race. So we were talking to him, and when we started seeing people peel off, and then we started to see a couple of people that came out of nowhere, were staying out, and then I think it was coming out of 4, the guy ran out of gas, and we didn't know if he was gonna win, lose, or what. It was amazing. It was probably my favorite race to ever broadcast or be a part of the booth in. It was sweet.
yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Christian Schneider won that race. I had some trouble early on in the race, and I was coming across the stripe as Christian was right behind me, coasting because he had ran out of fuel.
Yeah, as we see on the screen here, George Price was leading to 1 to go, and he ran out of gas going into 1. Christian Schneider went past him and ran out of gas going into 3, and he just coasted across the finish line, didn't even have enough gas for burnouts, and it pretty much sealed his seat into the chase for the Truck Series points.
Yeah, there was a lot of varying strategy throughout that event. A lot of coming and going with those pit stops and those fuel runs.
It's one of the great things about the way that Anthony and the admins have the league set up. That it's limited fuel, and the fact that there's going to be pit stops and there's going to be opportunities for strategy to come into play. We saw that when Jerome won the Cup race this Wednesday, where 2-tire strategy got him to the front.
Yeah, and these races are no short events.
He won.
We're not talking 30, 40 laps here. We're triple digits.
All right, guys. Now let's see what this did to the points. We have Jason O'Connor leading the points. He has 0 wins this year, but he's been consistent. He has stayed up there at the top. And we have Scott Hunsinger in second, and he has 0 wins in the Truck Series as well. And yet he's still in second. But we have Justin Michael. He's sitting in third, and he has won 4 races this year, and he is sitting comfortably in the chase seat.
You got 3 different winners is what I'm looking at. Top 21 in points. So wins aren't going to be as strong as just trying to finish consecutive and consistent. In the Truck Series especially, you just brought it up. Jason O'Connor is leading the points. He doesn't need a win. He could just continue to go on, be consistent, and as long as he is the points leader going in the chase, he's going to be in the chase. Nobody's going to take that away from him. And same thing with Scott Hunsinger, who actually passed Justin Michael last week in points. Doesn't have a win, but again, consistent, showing up every single week, has 9 starts. Jason O'Connor has 9 starts. These guys are going to stay consistent. They're going to be in the chase. Justin Michael has 6 starts, but he's relying on those 4 wins. He has 4 wins, guys. 4 wins in 6 starts. He's going to be in the chase. As long as he hits the minimum amount of standards that it needs to be in the chase, he's going to be in them. So you got some guys who, there's 2 different ends of the spectrum here. Justin doesn't need all the starts, but he's got his wins. He's going to be in it. You got other guys who they're trying to be as consistent as possible, trying to get their points in because they need them, but they don't need a win. So you guys, if you were in this chase, where would you rather be?
Oh, I think I'm
Number
definitely
one,
going to err on the
motherfucker,
side
what
of
do you think?
consistency. I mean, you look at Jason O'Connor up there, and he's 7 top 10s. He's the epitome of consistency right now. I'd like to be in his shoes.
Yeah, I think it's more about consistency than running in that first place spot all night. If you're constantly running in the top 5, top 10, you're golden.
No doubt.
Here's where it gets interesting, fellas. Owner standings. Josh Sheets is actually tied with Johnny Smith. They are tied, 243 points in the owner standings. I don't think this is updated per se to what it is right now because it shows 8 races. We actually done 9. So this isn't updated to the date, but Jason O'Connor is listed as leading the owner's points, and then Justin Michael second, Scott Hunsinger third. In driver's points, it's listed a little bit different. So if you have a driver who is missing a race and he doesn't get a sub, that'll hurt you in owner standings. So right now, Josh Sheets, can you speak on how it is to be leading right now in the owner standings, knowing that that is the one stat that does not get reset?
Tell you what, I really did not know I was leading to standings until just now, so it feels real good. Jason O'Connor's done a real good job in the S&M Motorsports Chevrolet, and he's been continuing being consistent, finishing races. That's the real big key, is being there at the finish, and he's done a really good job at this so far this season, and I'm proud to have him as a driver.
Yeah, you got Justin Michael tied with you, man. I mean, we didn't update the points there according to last week's races, but it shows Scott Hunsinger in third and Jeremy Morrison in fourth, Will Prue in fifth. Is it more important for you to just find a driver to fill that ride, or do you actually try to get with these guys and say, hey, man, we need to get the best finishes possible?
Well, I mainly tell them to just finish the race. The positions will come, and that's what I tell all of my drivers. I mean, I don't really care where you finish as long as you do finish. You could be the slowest driver out there, and if you finish the race and everybody gets took out, hey, guess what? You just won.
So driver standings, we got Jason O'Connor in first, Scott Hunsinger in second, Justin Michael third, Michael Leiby in fourth, Doug Hess fifth. One thing I noticed, George Price sitting in 10th right now. George Price has no wins. He's got 3 top 5s in 7 races. George Price is a past Truck Series champion. And as you know, Ronnie Norman was last year's champion, but he now runs the V Car Series. So this thing's up for grabs. There's so many guys in this series that have a possible chance at winning this championship. It's unreal, man. I mean, so many guys with a chance. So there's no real guessing of who's going to win it. But just to run through everybody here, man, you're sitting here looking at these points championship. Do you guys see anybody that may be an underdog and may possibly grab this thing?
If I had to pick one, I'd say Christian Snyder's always a threat to win. And although sometimes the consistency's not there, the guy can drive. He's fast enough. He can pull it out if he can get in the chase. And he's won a race, so he's in the chase. So if I had to pick a dark horse, it might be him.
Yeah, Todd, I have to agree with you. My pick would be definitely about Christian Schneider.
You
How about
know,
you, Trevor?
I'm trying to. I mean, Christian Snyder, yeah, but isn't Michael Libby one of them? It's in
Oh,
the
sure.
in the
yeah, Michael
championship.
Labby, we haven't mentioned
Yeah,
him.
Michael Ivy, fourth in points, 8 starts. He's got 1 win. He's got 3 top 10s and a top 5.
I mean, he's been good every week that I've been watching. You know, he could be a dark horse. He could come in and steal it up.
I
You
mean,
know, pretty much
anybody on that
all
top 10
8.
list is a
Yeah,
threat.
yeah. All the top 10
Yeah.
is really.
I'm looking at that list, and for me, it's hard to pick out, any one guy that we haven't talked about. They're all good.
Yeah. That's what's interesting. You never know what's going to happen, man. It's kind of like trying to play bingo. You never know what's going to happen. So that's what makes it very interesting when it comes playoff time.
And Anthony, what the screen does not show is below the cutoff point, and all the way down to 15th is only 20 points behind the battle of Josh Conover and George Price. So any guy from below that line can instantly sneak up and get them. What I'm looking at is Frank Reese. Now, some of us probably see Frank Reese as I don't know, someone that just is just there. And I mean, who knows? He could come into next week and just all of a sudden pulls out an upset, and all of a sudden he's in the chase, and all of a sudden we're like, hey, Frank Reese is here now. So now what do we do with him?
Yeah, you know what I noticed about racing with Frank is he's one of our calculated drivers. You're gonna see him more towards the end of the race. He doesn't burn his stuff up. He's really good at saving it and just getting that position there when it needs to be. I agree. You got to keep an eye on him.
All right, guys, and as we seen earlier, that Christian Snyder was the winner of the Dover race. Now let's check out the manufacturer's points right now, and obviously this is more of a Chevy league, and Chevy is dominating with a 360 points lead over Toyota at 318, so it's not that big of a domination, but surely with more Chevrolet drivers it
Wow.
gives an advantage, don't it?
Yeah, 42 points is definitely an advantage. I mean, you only have 2 manufacturers right now, and every single week matters. When you look at 42 points, this may not be a big enough lead in Cup where you have 3 manufacturers, but we're talking truck here. We only have 2 manufacturers. There's a lot of Chevy drivers, only a few Toyota drivers. That 42-point lead is big, especially in the truck series there, Josh. I think the truck, if you're in a truck right now and you're driving a Chevy, you have to be pretty comfortable right now where you're sitting.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we have discussed the truck series. Now let's move on to our next series, which is the Beeline Sim Series, brought to you by the Beeline Sim Products. If you need any sim products such as wheels, gear shifters, look them up, beelinesimproducts.com. Alright, guys, who in here is driving the Beeline Sim Series Drivers Championships?
What up?
I take that, Trevor McManus.
Gilly in the 64.
And Todd Gilly. Awesome. We got 2 guys in the truck, 2 guys in the Beeline Sim Series. Awesome. Awesome, guys. So, in your opinion, guys, how has this season went in the Beeline races?
For me, it's been great. I mean, it's my first year, and I struggled at the beginning to finish, but with the help of the other guys in the league teaching me a lot about how to finish and finish better. Um, I'm not sure what the points show right now, but I had through being more consistent. I think I'm like only a few positions out of pointing myself into the top 12 or 16, whatever it is.
Yeah, you're 16th.
It's right there, man. I think it's been a great year.
Sucks.
Yeah, not everybody has the luck Todd Gilly has, I'm guessing.
Well, I mean, I came in late, so I can't be too hard on myself. But I was just actually looking at my stats, man. I don't have a top 5. I don't have a top 10. I'm sitting 26th in points. And when I go back and remember what I can, because I got fucking memory problems, but most of my races, man, I get caught up in someone else's bullshit. I mean, and that's the hard part is when you're racing out in official, you expect it, you know what I mean? But when you race with these people on a weekly basis, and you hang out in here in the Discord with a lot of them almost on a nightly basis, you don't expect as much bullshit, but it happens. It's racing. I mean, everything happens. It happens anywhere you go.
I'm
We're all
guessing,
humans.
yeah, I'm
So
guessing you're talking about Daytona. So let's get on to Daytona, where a lot of BS will
Daytona.
happen. A lot of it will happen, and as we are looking on the replay here mode right here, you see clips from last week's race at Daytona, and it was a doozy. And there's a huge wreck at the beginning of the race. I'm not going to mention who did that, but we'll say his name starts with Thickner or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, this race was very, very eventful, as in cautions, but yet there was some really close racing. Mainly, the new aero package pretty much threw a curveball at everybody at ECR.
Yeah, I did notice with the new aero package that these cars suck up to each other 10 times better than the Cup cars.
Oh my God, yes. B cars were a much better drafting package.
Now, may I ask which one of you guys were caught up in a wreck at Daytona?
Me.
I
I
missed it.
I think I
Well,
was
that first one, it took some pretty good cars down. Was part of that one. I'm pretty damn sure of. I know where to go on the outside lane.
Yeah, the cars were pretty loose in the draft, and everybody was having issues with it. But pretty close racing, all in all. I mean, you're going to get it every now and then these tracks. So, I mean, it was just the luck of the draw. We just could not overcome what Daytona had in store for us, which which brings us to the finish of the race. Now, one of the biggest controversial finishes of ECR this season was the finish, and it was a pretty tough call by the race control, which I will go ahead and admit it was me. There was a caution in the front, and I was not paying attention to the wreck in the rear, and I pretty much blamed the wrong guy, and that wrong guy should have won the race, and uh, which later he was announced the winner, but he did not get the glory in the broadcast. So apologies to Mr. Jerome Gustin for winning this race, and he had a very strong car. He was always in the front in this race.
Yeah, and he handled that very, very well.
He did. And I want to point out that even though it didn't come out immediately at the broadcast, I want to point out that the admins got the right call in the end, and the right guy got the points, and the right guy got the win. So I guess justice was served in the end. He did get his win, and I'm really glad he did. You guys did a great job of correcting that.
I appreciate that, man, and all the admins here. They do a great job. Things happen at the end of a race. You kind of want to take everything into perspective, take all the replays, make sure that you make the best decision possible. and give it a day or two to be final on what's going on. So I think that the admins did a great job on that. It probably wasn't what some guys wanted it to be, but we got to make a decision. Those are the hard decisions that we got to make. That's what we're here for, and we made it. And I think that Jerome did get a win. It wasn't how he wanted it to get it, but I bet you that's exactly how he wanted it in that next race, man. He earned that next win, and bet you he's pretty damn happy and proud of how he got that one there. There's nothing he can't be proud of. That was a good, hard-earned win. A lot of guys still in the race there, and different strategies, and his played out to the end, man. He ended up getting the win there.
I thought that race was one of the best races that I've seen in the ECR as far as strategy and seeing it come out. And you didn't know who was going to win that race, man. The two fastest guys, Stephen Massey and John Caudle, in the early stages of that race, they were just, you couldn't catch them. They both had trouble, and that threw the whole thing up in the air. And then it was like, wow, who's going to win this year? There was no way. It was hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah, at the end of the race, Luis Salmaso was one of the fastest. Him, Stephen Massey, they got caught with a speeding penalty during the last caution before the final wreck, and they had to travel back up to the front, and it was pretty tough for them guys to get back up to the front.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, as we mentioned, Jerome Gustin was the winner at the Beeline Sim Series at Daytona, and let's check out how the points look like. It looks like Brad Bower has a nice lead in front of the second place Rob Haynes. He's got a 13-point lead in front of him, and Ronnie Norman, last year's Truck Series champion, is sitting here in third, 64 points behind Brad Bower. Looks like Rob Haynes is the only guy with multiple wins up in the top. He secured himself in the chase very well. And we have Josh Susie. He's had some bad luck here lately, but it's turning around. It's turning around. I say he's got a win, got himself into the chase. We have Luis Almaso, he's locked in the chase. James Lehman, one of the rookies in this series, he's also locked in the chase with a win.
And here's another
Yeah,
example of
B-Gar?
consistency. We got our leader, Brad Boyer, and he's up there with no wins, but he's got those top fives and top 10 stacked up.
Dude, Brad Bohr, oh my God, he's second in owners points right now. Rob Haynes is first in owners points right now. Rob has a 11-point lead over Brad Bohr in owners points. Okay, but he only has a 13-point lead. He's 13 points behind in driver's points. So as you guys can see, driver's points are one thing, owners points are another. Brad leads driver's points, but Rob Haynes leads owners points. These guys are 1 and 2 in driver's points. They're 1 and 2 in owners points. Everything changes from there on out. You see a lot of guys. Ronnie Norman, our Truck Series champion last year, is now sitting third in Xfinity points. He's 51 points back without a win so far. You guys looking at the points there, Brad Bohr is first, no wins. Rob Haynes second with 2 wins. Ronnie Norman has no wins. He's sitting in third. Jeremy Morrison has a win. He's in fourth. Jonathan Boger, fifth in points, 1 win. Ken Worley, sixth in points with no wins. Josh Susie, seventh in points with a win. So as you guys can see, it's not about the wins. You got to be consistent. You got to have points. A lot of guys in this series. To be exact, we got 36 guys in this series with points. You got to be able to be consistent. You want to be in that chase, got to be consistent.
Which I'm also noticing up here, Anthony, up near the top, it's also involves guys who's actually showing up for the races. As you see in 13th, Jonathan Lizelle, he's only been around for 10 races, and it's affected him in the points with 0 wins.
Yeah, he even has a pole. So try to start at the best position you can, finish as best as you can, and maybe consistency will pay off. And as you guys see, it's only 16 races out of 36. We got 20 more to go, minus the 10 that's in the chase. You know, I mean, there's a lot of races to go. These guys are going to be all in it, man. I mean, there's a lot of racing to go. You look at the guys, the competition that's in this league, it's not too late to join. You can come be a part of it, come be a part of the chase, and not be left out.
All right, now let's check out the manufacturer's points. Let's see who is on top of the points this week. As we can see, Chevrolet is ahead with 598 points. Second place is Ford with a close 547 points, and Toyota, low man on the totem pole, with 347 points. Oh, it's tough to be in a Toyota.
Well, I don't know why you'd want to be in one, but I'll give you that one.
No, serious?
You know, everybody loves a good underdog story, and right now Toyota is the underdog in manufacturers in the Beeline Sim Series. Oh my goodness. Alright guys, we have talked about the trucks, we have talked about the Beeline Sim Series. Now let's go to the ECR Cup Series presented by Pit Stop Designs. You need a good paint job, get with Pit Stop Designs. Joey Stats, our main man, or one of the admins here in ECR. He'll do you in right. Oh man, Cup. Awesome season so far. We had a lot of green flag action, a lot of caution-free races. Oh my gosh, the caution-free races. My arms are still sore with these caution-free races.
Well, I feel you, brother.
Sheets, I gotta know, man. Can I take 2 questions on everybody here?
By all means, sir.
So I want to know, man. 2 things I want to know. Everybody sitting here. 1, what is your favorite part of the league this season? And 2, what is your worst experience of the league this season? And I'm just going to roll it down the line here. Favorite part and worst part. We'll roll it down here. Chad Ankle, you first. What's your favorite part of the league this season?
Oh God, where do I begin? I love the realism of the league. I love how the scheduling is. Where we're racing is the same place they're racing at the end of the week. The group of guys, I cannot give enough credit to this group of guys. Everybody puts on a hell of a show. My least favorite thing that happened to me in this league was at the start of the season, running third at Daytona with 2 laps to go. Somebody on the high side gets turned right down into me and get my first DNF.
Nobody ever forgets that Daytona race, huh?
That's something you can't forget.
Yeah, Daytona is definitely a wild card race, man. I can't blame you for that. I have definitely a lot of imprints in my mind of a lot of Daytona races, man. It is what it is, but I've learned myself to move on. So, yeah, when you become a part of a league, you kind of like, this is what it is. You move on. We got another guy here, Aaron Berge. Aaron Berge, what's your favorite part of the league this season, and what's the worst part that you experienced?
I'd have to say best part or favorite part is the driver turnout this year. People are actually showing up to race for once. And least favorite, obviously, and I think most people will agree on it, is the dump truck sets. I'm so sick and tired of the fixed A cup set, A class sets. They're just they're what the trucks should be, really.
I honestly agree with you, Lana. Man, I mean, that's a good turning point of this broadcast here. Is what do you guys think about that Cup Series setup? If they want to call it a setup, I mean, I don't. I personally think, and I agree with Aaron Berge, this is complete shit. whoever turned up with these setups, man, they need to get a new job. Because
Yeah,
that
The,
thing,
the A
when you're
car is
running the A
supposed to be the
cars,
hardest car to drive.
it is. It's supposed to be the hardest car to drive. You shouldn't be able to just mash on the gas from 0 to 100 and just go.
yeah. The suck
Right?
up was terrible in the A car. It really was. I mean, you were just flat footed, just doing what you could to stay in that little bubble.
Yeah, the
I
aerodynamics in the chassis been pretty off since the last couple of builds for the A car.
But it's
yeah,
not just it's
and you
go
know,
ahead.
it really affected the racing a great deal. You seen right away at the beginning of Daytona that everybody went immediate train formation because they knew if you didn't have a stack of cars to want to go on that outside, and nobody was wanting to go up there. You know, I was running what third in line, pushing the 69, and I think Anthony was leading at the time of that race. And the 69 went out to the high side, and I went with him, and I shoved him to the lead. I passed him Anthony, and he flat dumped me, and I was a brick, man. I went from second to the back of the pack within half a lap.
Yeah. And see, for me, it's not the aero. The aero package for me, I mean, except for obviously the super speedways. But for me, as far as the 1.5 miles and the 2 miles, it's not the aero package that I can't stand. It's the setup itself. They're junk.
I think they're great. You're junk.
Listen, when you look
hey,
at
he has a perfect example of the opposite side of the story.
yeah,
Aaron, you give your side, but Trevor, we would like to hear that. Why do you think it's perfect?
I'm more of the tight type of person. I like my cars tight. I'm more on the tight side. And it used, last year the B car was really tight and it was fun to drive, and the A car was really stupid loose and it wasn't really that much fun. But now you actually have the rear end underneath you.
but that's the way it should be.
You can actually go out there and drive the car without being nervous every lap going into the corner. Okay, is it just going to step sideways on me?
And some guys are gonna love
And-
loose cars. Some
But
guys are
would
gonna
you-
love a tight car.
But would you or would you not agree that the A car is like the 410 sprint car? It's like the outlaw of dirt. It should be the hardest car to drive on the track.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
agree with that. The
in
A
a
car should
sense,
definitely be
yeah.
more of a handful.
I do, but when we're talking a fixed setup and you have to go out there and drive with 100 other bozos, I'd rather be in a nice tight setup than in a loose setup, worrying if one, I'm gonna spin it, or two, the guy driving in the corner is gonna spin next to me. At least there's a little bit of security there.
But you figure when you get to the A
That's part
series, the
being
level
in
of the
big series.
yeah, when you get to the A, at least this is my opinion there. When you're in the A series, you expect that everybody around you has a very high level of car control that you can really trust to be close to them, etc. And the car should be harder to drive. I really do think as well. I think the A car should be harder to drive and let the talent shine through. Now it's just kind of strategy more so than anything else.
In my opinion, it's the complete opposite now. You've got the trucks that have somewhat loose setups. You've got the B car that has anybody can drive, really. And then you've got the A car that it's super tight for everybody. They're completely the opposite of what they should be.
I remember when we were running B right after the new build came out, and we were running B line races, and or maybe it was just before. Anyway, remember the B cars for a while, they were stupid loose. You couldn't hardly drive them off the corners, and everybody was saying this is how the A car should be, and not the B car.
Yep.
And I tend to agree, man. It was easier for me, even as a rookie. It was easier for me to drive my Cup car than it was for me to drive my B-line car.
Yeah, and it just shouldn't be that way. I understand people like tight setups. Some people like tight setups. Some people like loose setups. But the simple case and point is that is the big dog of the league or big dog series. It should be the hardest car to drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No,
well,
but back to what
Hands down.
I think it was Ed that said it. I'm not quite sure that you expect everybody when they're in A class
Yes,
to
sir.
have a bigger or a better car control, to be better at car control. Well, we all know how you move up in class. You ride around in the back, you make clean laps, and you move up. It's not about your performance, really. It's just about if you have any X's or anything. I
Well,
mean,
if you're
so
Trump,
so
you can body slam motherfuckers.
so really, you
If you're
can't.
drunk.
I mean, you do expect it, but it never fucking happens. You have worse people, worse A class races than you do C class races or B class races because back then it was the car wasn't able to drive for a lot of people. So I personally like the way the A cars is, and that's just where I'm gonna leave it.
speaking of the A car, guys, let's talk about how they were last week at Daytona. Now, there's gonna be
Oh
some
my God,
mixed feelings about this, so let's go ahead and get into this.
for sure. What do you want to? Where do you want to start, Josh?
Let's talk about the aerodynamics. Let's talk about the bump draft. Let's talk
Well,
about the group draft. Oh my gosh, the ups
You
and
were shit
downs.
unless you had 3 or more.
so I was
Yeah.
in the draft, right? And I had experienced something that not a lot of guys had experienced, but not
All
everybody
right,
was
Dale
able to do
Jr.
it. Not everybody was able to do it. I was able to go from all the way because I got an EOL in that race. I caused an accident. I accepted it. Went to the back of the line all by myself on a restart. Guys didn't want to go to the outside. It was something that was very familiar with a lot of guys in that race. They did not want to be on the outside. As soon as you get on the inside and get in line, you took it, right? I said, fuck it. I ain't got nothing to lose. Already got the EOL. Went to the outside. The only guy sitting like 20th. All right. Went to the outside. I pinned him down to the line. You actually could get a nice draft on the outside. And you didn't even need to draft off anybody. You didn't need anybody behind you. I literally went from 20th to 9th in 3 to 4 laps, man. Just by drafting off the guys in front of me, pinning them and sticking to their outside, just trying to hold their air, pinning them to the inside and using that draft. You had to use it right, and you could do it. If you could do it right, and guys, you gotta trust the guys around you. And running ECR league, I feel like everybody can hold their own. So I really didn't give anybody anything. I held them all to the yellow line. I said, look, if you're gonna come up, you're gonna take me out. Fuck you, End of my race, end of your race. And it didn't happen that way. Everybody held their lane. They did a great job. I didn't get the race that I wanted, but it was fun nonetheless. Everybody held their line, going from the back to the front. The only guy on the outside, nobody behind me, just doing drafting. It was fun. It was doable. It was applicable. Guys could do it. The problem with it was we didn't have enough guys who wanted to do it during the race and at the end of the race. Guys were just scared. They
Yeah,
didn't want to
man.
get to that outside. They didn't want to make something happen. And
Yeah.
it's something you try to want to change in the future because you could really do something. You could do something, but there's too many guys who were scared to make it happen.
As some of you guys at home on TV, you guys will see that we just experienced the big one on the broadcast as Jeffrey Ford, the broadcaster for the Cup Series, was on board. Unfortunately, it was in my car as the big
Oh
one
wow!
happened with 17 to go, and he saw Stephen Massey in the '97 Haas automated Chevrolet go up on his lid right in front of me, and it was a very weird
Nice.
experience, and it was heartbreaking, really, being that close up to the front, being took out there at the end of the race. But it's Daytona, guys. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
what if it happens. It's going to happen.
When it happens. When
Yeah,
it happens.
if I remember right, I think I got a broken motor in that crash.
Hey,
Yeah.
I gotta say something here, guys. So I posted a link to a VR headset on the in the driver's lounge, and That headset was the wrong one that I meant to post. In the comments, I commented the one that I meant to post. And I'm actually watching a video right now of somebody using it on iRacing, and it's 4K. It's 4K
Sign
at,
me up.
at
Well, let me ask you this.
$200 cheaper than the Oculus.
Weren't they supposed to release the 4K soon, but it wasn't out yet?
That's
I
what
didn't
I'm
think
waiting
the
on.
4K was out yet.
I
Dude,
don't know.
if there's a 4K available, ooh yeah, buddy, that's what I'm
The
waiting
only-
on.
4K
only-
is not out yet.
This VR has way better resolution. Now granted, it's only at 60 hertz, so it's going to be 60 FPS. But you can go up to 90. But the only downfall of this thing is it doesn't have positional tracking. So in other words, if you lean forward, it's not going to sense that. If you lean backward or side to side, it's not going to sense that, but it senses everything else. You turn your head, when you look down or look up, or you tilt your head, it senses all that.
So no driving looking at your dick or looking at the ceiling. Got it.
Well, no, yeah, you can do that, but it just, when you lean forward or lean back or lean side to side, it doesn't sense that. But dude, at 4K, come on.
Anyway, as we were looking on the screen here, that Josh Susie came out ahead at Daytona. Another controversial ending at the race. I'm pretty sure Anthony Thischer was part of that controversy at the end, and it wound up being only two cars fighting for the win, and it wound up Josh Susie being the one prevailing, getting the win at Daytona.
Right on.
And
Right on. And
I was very happy for Josh because he's my team owner in the truck series, and he was my teammate in this race. He was filling in for Nick Olson, and I couldn't have been more happy for him getting his first Cup win.
all right, now let's move forward 1 week. Last night at Kentucky Motor Speedway,
Good old Kentucky.
another racetrack that came down to strategy. Strategy. Who got the best tires? Who could save their tires? It wound up two tires prevailing over four tires. You won't hear that anywhere else but here in ECR.
That was a ballsy move for sure.
It was.
Tell you what,
know,
man,
Trevor-
I was so horror last night for a couple hours after that race. So fucking bumpy. So much fun though.
Now,
Trevor Roppolo was catching him on four tires. He was catching Jerome. Jeff Ford and Nick Gillis and I were in the booth, and we were watching, and they said, well, maybe he'll catch him by the end here. And he was 3 seconds behind or something like that. And I said, there ain't no way that he's going to catch him. And I couldn't believe it. He ended up right, almost made a pass for the lead on the last lap to win that race, but he couldn't get by Jerome. But it was great to see strategy play such a big part in a race and see that much difference, man. That was a great. I said earlier, that's one of the best races I've seen in ECR strategy wise.
Now, Aaron Berger, you were part of this. You were one of the guys who did the tire strategy. You wound up taking, was it 2 tires or no tires?
Last night?
Yes.
Last night I took 2 tires, the last 2 pit stops that I took.
Wow. I mean, I see it worked great for Jerome Gustin, so I'm not going to down the 2-tire call ever again. So that was a pretty ballsy move, and it actually worked out well for you. You still got a top 5, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. That's I think you went into the pits at like 7th or 8th, and you gained that much time. I mean, you can't talk bad about that. And congrats to Jerome Gustin. He came out with a win as we are sitting here on the very last lap going down the back straightaway. Trevor Roppolo came up from a 5-second difference, and he finished this race 20 laps into a run, caught him and went up to his back bumper one more lap. He would have had Jerome Gustin.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that also you could see where two tires won Jerome the race, and two tires cost Stephen Massey the race. Because if I'm not mistaken, Aaron, I think you pointed out that Stephen Massey came out. He was leading the race, pitted, took two, and spun his car
And
coming
that
out onto the back
and
stretch.
that spin hurt, man. That hurt. That almost destroyed my race when that happened, because I think I was following Aaron. Myself, Aaron, and John Cotto, we were pretty much on the same pattern throughout that race. And Aaron hit pit lane, and I hit pit lane right after him. And I just hit my box, and that caution flew. And it was like a gut. It was like a punch in the gut.
Yeah, man. If that first caution, well, not first caution, I guess it would have been the second caution. Had that caution not came out, I'll tell you what, man. I was in the pits when the caution came out, which is neither here nor there, but I was taking two tires at that point. Had that caution not came out, I would have ended up in the lead with at least a half a track lead on everybody once the pitting cycled, because everybody else was taking four.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw it.
All right, as you guys see on the screen, that the winner of Kentucky was Jerome Gustin on a two-tire gutsy call. Let's see what the points look like in the Cup Series here. You see Jerome Gustin in the lead still. Of course, we have not updated the points yet. He would have a win beside his name. And we got Anthony Thishner sitting right there in second place with 3 poles and 2 wins. A lot of guys with multiple wins in this series. We're sitting here with Stephen Massey in second, Justin Bland, or Stephen Massey with 2 wins, and Justin Bland with 2 wins as well. We got Chris Steele down there in ninth. He's got a win, and he's locked himself in the chase. He's another sleeper. I mean, he can come out with a win at any time as well. He won a race on strategy, and you see Jerome Gustin winning a race on strategy. I mean, strategy races all season long here in the Cup Series, and what are we going to expect even more of these strategy guys?
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of different strategy races, especially with 50% fuel. Definitely different strategies going on, different fuel strategies, different pit strategies. These guys are all in damn strategy. You're going to have guys taking 2 tires, 4 tires, no tires. So some of these things the guys are going to have to work out and see what works for them. Maybe you have a 5-second lead and, take two tire pit stops because you want to maintain that. Maybe you're riding second, 6 seconds behind. You have to take it 2-tire pit stop and try to take advantage of that lead. So different things that you've seen this season that you're going to continue to see all season long. And the reason why we have so many different winners for each series, man. I mean, you look at the different winners for each series that we have, and you're gonna see a big list there. And I don't expect that to change any second longer here. I mean, you're gonna see different winners, different series, different races going on, man. Guys are going to continue to surprise us. You're going to see different strategies going on.
Yeah, we can't forget we got the Glen coming up too. I'm looking forward to that one.
A lot of different tracks coming up. We also have Eldora coming up very, very soon in the truck. So we're going to really see what some of these guys are made of working on dirt. But sticking with the Cup Series right now, we're looking at the Cup owner standings, and I see Stephen Massey and Jerome Gustin probably swapping it out 1 and 2. And we got Haters Make Us Famous on the top of the board right now with Anthony Thishner as team owner. And tell you the truth, it does not surprise me none. Stephen Massey has been on a roll this year, and I'm surprised he doesn't have any more wins than what he already has. I guess bad luck, bad timing in some places. I mean, a lot of things just not working in Steven's direction this year.
Maybe he ought to quit throwing them away on 2-tire stops and spinning his car.
Well, we have all 4 drivers top 10 in owner standings. Across all 3 series, there's not one team that can say they've done the same thing. So I alone am very, very proud of my guys, man. Stephen Massey, Joey Stats, Thomas Lattimore, and myself have been able to hold the owner standings in the top 10. There's no other team across the board who has all 4 of their drivers, including themselves, in the top 10 in standings. This is something you could be very proud of, man. And I continue to be very proud of that as far as the owner standings go.
I'm about to go protest those H-Muff guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Gosh.
congratulations.
Yeah, we
You
need
gotta
to quit
watch what I say because I drive for 2 of the guys here in this lobby.
Yeah, we need to quit doing these sessions. It's causing Anthony's head to grow larger and larger and larger.
I'm fixing to spend me a bunch of millions in ECR funds to go after them H-Muff boys next year.
Damn right, man. We're gonna take it to them. Your days are numbered. Rookies are coming.
Oh,
Days are numbered. This is coming from a guy who runs for the same team.
Well, yeah, but I drive for Todd and Cup, so
Now,
you know.
these different singers we're talking about, but running for the same team. I mean,
That's why I said I gotta watch what I say because I got 2 owners in here. I'm gonna shut up now. I'm just gonna the mute button's going on.
You're on a political tightrope there, buddy.
I am, man. When I'm bouncing messages on back and forth, I gotta remember what team I'm talking to.
says the rookie. Says the rookie. All right, guys, let's check out the manufacturer's points for the Cup Series and
Chevy.
no surprise, no surprise. Chevy. This is a Chevy league apparently. Ford is sitting in second with 561
Yeah.
points. Toyota's in third, 359. Low man on the totem pole. I mean, what's with a Chevrolet that everybody likes?
Josh, it is Chevy domination across the board. No matter what series you're looking at, you go and look at the points. Chevy is leading by a commanding lead. I don't know what it is, but it is what it is, man. I mean, obviously people see the same thing as an
People know
Amory
quality,
King
yep.
sees. You
People
gotta
That's 'cause
know
the
quality.
The league used to be known as the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Fan Club. That's why.
Now, I'm gonna tell you what. If, guys, and you guys, this may be a great subject to bring it on. What if you guys still hear me?
No.
Okay. So we've all been listening to NASCAR and the things that they've been bringing. They want to bring a new manufacturer into the sport, right? So this was a topic that was brought into the league on the group lounge there. What do you guys think would be a great manufacturer to bring into the league? Because I myself, and I'll start it off, I think Dodge coming back into the sport would be a great thing. For one, they have, and if you look at the manufacturers that we're looking at, is Cup, Xfinity, and Truck. It's a great thing because they have models that could be a great aspect and a great addition to each individual series.
I seen a blurb about Nissan.
I think the Dodge Ram is a great addition to trucks. I think a Ram is a great truck.
I say Dodge or eat a dick because this is an American sport. We don't have room for no fucking race grinders.
Now, I'm not taking sides on this, okay? I'm not taking sides, even though I love my Japanese SDI, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, right. I seen a blurb about Nissan, and as soon as I seen that, it kind of made sense, and this is why. You got to offset Toyota, right? So you got 2 Asian manufacturers going against 2 Chevy and Ford, 2 nationalistic ones. So kind of evens out the pie there. That could be a dark horse possibility.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem I see with that. NASCAR rule. To be in NASCAR, your manufacturer has to make available a naturally aspirated V8 in a consumer vehicle. Nissan doesn't.
Toyota doesn't.
No, you're right. They used Infinity's motor. Toyota did, and Nissan is going to be using Lexus's motor.
I was gonna say, who's under Nissan's umbrella?
Hold on.
The other way
dude,
around.
Dude, you're sounding retarded because.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It is the other way around.
Okay.
Infinity Nissan.
Well, we got 2 guys in the chat, guys. Earl James is saying Dodge #1 seed and Buick #2. What do you think about Buick making another run coming back? If they
What do they have for
Kind of fills in that old Pontiac slot.
Yeah, Buick doesn't have a pickup truck. And next to that, do they have a two-door car to put into Xfinity?
Maybe they'll
Yeah.
bring
That's
back
the
the
thing.
Regal, man. Maybe they'll
You
make a new
have,
Regal for the series.
if you're going to come into the sport, you have to be able to provide something that's competitive in all three series. Otherwise, you can't even compete. You can't contend.
Speaking of
I
competitive,
mean, that's the only thing that kind of kills, on the Japanese side of things, Honda and Mazda. And the only reason why I think Mazda should come in NASCAR, I live in Sebring, Florida. Okay, I go to the 12 hours of Sebring, and I see what manufacturers do as far as what the fans go. And if you watch the NASCAR America Race Hub, whichever one it was, that Brad Keselowski went on about how manufacturers bring things to the fans. Mazda every year brings an iRacing simulator out to the racetrack, and they have a lot of things also at Mazda to help with the fan interaction. And I think for that reason, Mazda would be good for NASCAR, but they don't have a pickup truck. And if I were to vote, I would have to go with Nissan because of you got two Americans, you put two Japanese in there. The Japanese are going to go at war with each other, and then they're going to make Chevy and Ford do what they have to do to also perform goods.
I don't think Toyota should have been allowed in. It's an American sport, man.
Yeah, but all right, go out there to the streets and look at how many Toyotas are on the streets in America. And also, Toyota does have a manufacturing plant here in America. So does Honda, and I'm pretty sure
But it's
Nissan
still a
does.
Japanese
And,
company.
Subaru has actually built all of the Toyota Camrys. So you know what? Fuck yeah, Subaru's on the track. I'm a Toyota fan now.
all
No,
right,
But
Ken.
regardless how you look at it, it's still a Japanese-owned company.
Right. Maybe
Okay.
maybe Toyota hasn't gotten their companies right. Maybe they shouldn't have a fucking Toyota. What is it? Camry as a Cup Series contender. Maybe
Yeah, I don't believe in
Well,
that.
I agree.
Why is
So,
Camry
I agree with
a
that.
Cup
Yeah.
Series car?
yeah,
I
it
don't
shouldn't be.
get that at all. Because
That takes
when you look at these
but-
cars, and when you look at these cars as NASCAR is, and then you put them on the street, man, some of these Chevy SS blows the rest of these cars out.
Yeah, but if you look
bro.
at the SS and you look at the Fusion or the Fusion, right? That's
Yeah.
what it is, the Fusion.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Camry, they're all four-door,
Well, yeah.
cars. They're
The
all
Cup
four-doors.
cars,
So
the Cup cars shouldn't be sedans.
Yeah,
They should,
no.
Yeah.
they should be what the
Agreed.
Xfinity cars are.
They should represent the upper echelon of that manufacturer's sports cars.
Yeah.
That's what
Right,
they-
so which
Damn.
Chevy would you put in there? The Camaro or the Corvette?
It'd be the Corvette. It'd be like Camaro and B, and have a Corvette variant and Cup. I mean, if that was gonna be the general way of thinking.
On the topic of bringing in foreign cars, Earl James says he might as well run Teslas.
Tesla.
You know what?
They can run in Indy with the rest of them electric motors.
Right.
Oh, they're just
Yes.
gonna repave the track so they get the energy from the track itself, and
Oh,
nobody has
yeah.
to fix
Oh,
that.
yeah. Well, guys, what do you say we move on to the next slot? Who is on fire? Who is hot? And who is not in ECR? First, who you guys think who is hot?
Oh man,
I'm not.
And I'm not talking about looks wise. That's already been took. I mean,
Oh no,
Thomas
hey,
Lattimore. Come on.
Jerome can drive, yo.
Oh yeah.
Jerome. Jerome is a great driver to bring up. Jerome, number 43, STP car. He ended up getting the sponsor he wanted. Trying to get to ECRLeague.com and bring it up
Josh
right
come
now
over
so
said
I
I'm
can
not.
back up my facts. But I'm gonna go off purely what I know, and that is driving this guy in the Cup Series, man. He's a hell of a contender. The guy puts in a bunch of practice. He shows up early, puts in practice. That's one thing you got to respect. Guys who show up early, put their laps in, put a bunch of laps in, and when they get to racing, they respect you. They will put in their laps and they will give you the position if you earned it. Jerome, I believe he's leading in owners points, and he is now leading in drivers points. He shows up every single week. This guy is somebody who has earned it. You can't say that Jerome has taken the lead from anybody. He
It's
has
hard.
earned
It's
it.
hard to beat a strong work ethic, no matter what.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure no one can argue that fact that Jerome Gustin is the man to beat here lately. B car, Cup car, he's showing dominance week in, week out. All right, guys, who is?
Hey,
Yeah.
I'll tell you who's white hot in the A car. Not to interrupt you, but I'll tell you who's been white hot was Joseph Tice.
Oh yes, Joseph Tice.
Yeah,
one of the-
Joseph.
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys
There-
know Joseph Tice is no longer in the league.
Was.
He actually
Yeah, there's a
stepped
was
out
there.
of the league. He
Oh, I
stepped
didn't know.
Yeah, he actually was in the league, and he stepped out of the league due to personal reasons. But he's not going to be continuing to compete anymore in the Cup Series or in ECR. So
I feel
that is
stupid.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the things he was a force to reckon with, but life happened, and
He was a shooting star.
He was too beautiful for this
Great
world.
guy. A great guy, though.
Too beautiful for this world.
All right, guys, who is not? Who is ice cold?
Me.
A guy with 2 wins.
I was gonna say it's got to be a toss up between me and Anthony.
You guys have been a real disappointment.
I'm telling you.
Park. It should be who's parked the most in the last couple weeks. Hmm?
Well, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know about parking. I think I've
Josh-
finished every race.
Josh
but,
Conover said in the chat it
Conover
was
said
him.
him.
You know what, man? You can say I'm a disappointment, but if you're sitting second in points, are you disappointed?
No, but you
No.
know what? I
Come
love
on.
it. I love it. Like I'm sitting there sweating balls off. Got like 15 laps to go. And all of a sudden I look down. I'm like, where the fuck does 87 come from? I know I haven't seen him like the last 50 fucking laps.
Hell yeah.
So,
By the
hey,
way-
boys, I just finished my beer here. We got like 15 more laps. I'm good.
All right, here
My
comes.
saying you were a disappointment was sarcasm, man.
Yeah, I love you.
All right, guys, here comes my favorite session in this whole broadcast. Who here, or who in the league will receive this week's crying towel?
Oh,
Well, that's
man.
me every week. Come on.
You know, I hate to agree with him, but I agree with him.
All right,
Amberg. Amberg. And let me tell you what, man, because you can't just say he's going to get a crying towel and explanation.
Hey,
Aaron Berge will
every
find
week
a
I'm gonna
reason.
bitch about the set.
He is going to find a reason to bitch. And especially when it comes down to these setups, guys. And I can't even hate on them. Because, like, these setups are trash. I don't know who makes these setups. These motherfuckers are high on crack, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is awesome. That's awesome. All right, man. We went through all this. Next week we are going to New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Oh
the freaking
man.
hamster.
We also are going
Woo.
to
It's
the.
gonna be fun.
We're also going to Kentucky in the trucks because we had to postpone them on account of the 4th of July week. So we're going to be in Kentucky in the trucks, New Hampshire in the Cup. Oh my goodness gracious!
Damn, I
alive.
might run the trucks just to run that. The trucks feel
Oh, the-
good, man.
You know, yeah, I ran a bunch of some laps there. As you guys seen that video I put up there, the GoPro with the Kentucky. The trucks are good, man. Even as bumpy as it was, they're really not moving around. They're pretty stable. I think the truck's going to put on a good race.
Well, trucks are at Kentucky. The Xfinity and Cup Series is at New Hampshire. And it was 150 laps in the B cars, 175 in the Cup. I am so pissed, guys. I'm not going to be there next week. But I hope that these guys put on a great show. I will be there next week. Not the week coming, but the week after that, 2 weeks from now. I will be off. This is a part of working. These guys, the truck series is going to come to Eldora. Hey, the first time in ECR history, guys,
Yep,
trucks
A-line as well. Josh
are going
Conover.
to hit Eldora Speedway. Can we talk
That
about
is
that for a
a
second?
not miss event.
You know what? You know what I got to say about that? Because I've driven the trucks at Eldora. I got one thing to say about that.
125 laps.
I got one thing to say about that. Record cautions.
You know, we got to put up some serious practice events leading up to that one.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
that'd be something to be seriously talking
125
about.
laps. Can we do that? Can we do 125 laps?
Yeah, of course
with
we
the
can.
gas? I know there were some issues. People were talking about some issues with the gas and
I don't think
and
about
how
gas.
everything is. I don't think.
I think with a full tank they can go that far.
Oh yeah, pitting
Mm.
is. We might want to. Yeah, I didn't even think about that aspect of it.
Well, you always
Can
got to
you
be
get
one
there?
step advantage,
All
man.
right. Well, this would be my question to that. In real life, what do they run at Eldora in the trucks? How many laps? I know they don't run 250.
No, well,
I don't know.
Yeah,
altogether,
me.
including the heat races and everything, might be 250.
You got somebody at home watching us?
Uh,
How many do they run? Come on.
The
I'm
question is, how many do
NASCAR.com.
they have to
Have we
run on one
thought?
tank?
Has there been any discussion about doing it in a heat racing fashion?
Yeah, it hasn't.
Let's see.
Nope.
I'm about to look it up right now.
Yeah,
I
like
think
so.
we are not.
I'm
We're
looking it
not
up.
cutting this show until we find this out.
Camping truck
Well-
series.
Eldora runs at 9:30 Wednesday, July 19th. The only information I have is
Doesn't even show
book,
how many laps.
book hotels, book tickets, or VIP tickets. They don't
No,
want to
it
let you know anything other than that.
Let's
I can't let you know.
It doesn't even say how many laps.
What the fuck?
Mm.
Hey NASCAR, how many laps for the trucks at
Race
Eldora?
info.
And they're like,
Here we go.
how much money do you have?
Here we
How
go.
much,
Oh,
how
no.
much money you got? How much you want to spend?
Do you have any
my
money?
goodness.
Fuck.
Race info.
Well, guys,
Do you know Alex Trebek?
I want to thank you guys.
Cut out.
Cut out, brother.
Oh, Josh Carnivore says on YouTube chat here that heats are 10 and Earl Pro versus and 150. LCQ is 15.
150. Earl
Am I good?
James.
Yeah, you're back.
They run
I just
150
wanna,
laps.
That's what it looks like.
I want to.
Yeah, race is 150.
I want
Heat
to
are
thank y'all.
short
I
on
gotta
time.
get out of
LCQ is
here.
15.
Alright. So we run half.
Thank
so
you.
that'd be 75 laps. I know we can do 75 laps in the trucks at Eldora.
Well, we're set for 125.
Change that to 75. If you change it to 75, you know everybody's going to make it on fuel.
Well, on
Somebody
that note,
can go
guys,
run
how
full tank.
about we continue this conversation next week, and we'll cut this broadcast to a close.
I don't know, man.
and I
Oh, there you go.
look forward to New
Hey,
Hampshire.
hey,
Fucking New Hampshire rocks.
Conover says they run 3 segments. First
Yeah.
segment is 40, second segment is 50, last segment is 60. So you can just run 3 different rooms, I guess. Good thing I'm not in charge.
Mm.
Oh my
Tell you what,
goodness.
some of these guys who are dirt pros, man, they know all about it. And sometimes it's hard to make a league session exactly like the dirt sessions are in real life. It's hard to do. We'll try to do as close as we can, but man, when it comes down to Eldora and the trucks, you guys better stay tuned. And I want to say this. Yeah, Broadcasting Network will have us fully live, man. We'll be live. Yeah, Broadcasting Network, Scotty B, he will be live, and that will be a
Yeah,
hell of a show.
Long broadcast.
If there was a circle to put on that calendar, it's that one. Don't miss it.
Speaking of
Yeah.
speaking of broadcast, below in the description is the links to the broadcast pages. Yeah, broadcasting. Here at ECR, we do the Beeline Sim series, and at Ford Entertainment Group with Jeffrey Ford. The links are below. You guys click it, subscribe it, and look for the notification that says we are live.
Yeah.
All right.
Goddamn right.
All right, guys. Do we got anything more to add for this upcoming week to New Hampshire?
Yeah, you guys make sure you tune in next time Josh Sheets races and you want to pull for a heterosexual, you need to pull for Josh Sheets.
No, he's a preacher, man. They like little boys.
Oh,
Oh
that's
no,
right. If
I'm
you
not
want to pull for
Catholic.
some,
I'm not Catholic.
Oh,
All right. We need to move forward and before we get in trouble.
yeah.
All right, guys. We're gonna cut this short on that
are we in
note.
trouble?
We just might.
Making the old Catholic guy mad.
Can we run through everybody real quick? Just everybody from the top to the bottom.
From the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
We have
Chad Angle.
Chad Angle.
Chad Angle.
What up?
Hey man.
Thank you, man. Thanks for listening in the hub. Hopefully, I can make another appearance here. Have a good one.
Well, thanks, Chad Angle.
I had a good time with you guys tonight. I'm sorry I'm a little tired. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. It's now 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, he's high on mushrooms, guys. Sometimes it makes him pass out a little bit early. Josh Sheets, what do you got for us?
Woo! You guys stay tuned. It's gonna be an action-packed week here. Better hold on tight and let the good times roll, baby.
Todd Gilly, what do you got for us?
I think having the hub's a great idea. And one more thing, I think that what they should do is switch the Cup cars to the Mustang Camaro, and
Yes.
and run that Camaro and Mustang,
Yeah.
and then get the Challenger in,
Yeah.
and then they'd have them both in both series.
Hell
I remember
yeah.
the first time I did drugs. Aaron Berge, what do you got for us?
Hey, man. I might have been late, but I was here. Y'all have a good one, and stay tuned for me to get my one winning in.
Guys,
You
we appreciate everybody here staying tuned. We appreciate the feedback. Come hit us up. Want you to cuss us out. We want you to let us know what you want to hear, man. We're here for you guys. We thank you everybody for showing up. I want to thank Josh Sheets putting this on, man. We've been
Me too.
trying to get this thing going for a long time. Thank you all you guys for showed up, man, made this thing possible. We want to do this thing every week. And hopefully you guys can stay tuned with us. Thank you for hearing us out. Want to bullshit about everything. We want to get guys more involved. So if you're watching, stay tuned, comment, get involved. We want to get you guys involved. So that's something that we look forward to doing in the near future. Thank you guys. This has been a part of ECR Broadcasting. Josh Sheets doing a great job. Thank you, Ed Adams, Chad Engel, Josh Sheets, Todd Gilly, Aaron Berge. Thank you all you guys, man, for stepping in. You guys done a hell of a
Thanks for
job.
having me.
Thank you all, man.
Yeah, man. Nice to be here.
Thank you for having me, and y'all have a good night, guys.
See you.
All right, guys. See you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. You guys have a wonderful week.
Popsicle.